for life here, and today we're going to be continuing our Python tutorial, and we're going to be learning something new. It's going to be called data types, and all programming languages use data types. Now let's get started. We're going to go to our Python console. I'm not going to be using Text Wrangler today, but let's focus on this. Let's say we have a random string of text, right? Now, because it's in double quotes here, these double quotes, you know that this is text, of course. So, yeah, and that is text, but programmers don't like to call this just text. They like to call it strings. They like to call it strings, okay? Strings. And just to show you that I'm not lying to you, we're going to get type. We're going to put some random letters. And then we're just going to say, it's going to print out type str. Now, str, string, get it? There you go. That's, so that's a string, but of course it's not only the only data type. There are numbers and true and false, those things. So let's go into integers. Now, if you know a bit of algebra, you should know that most whole numbers, old negative and positive whole numbers are what you like to call an int. And integer, sorry. And that's indeed what you get. If you put in some whole number, you get type int. Integer. There you go. And also you can type in negatives too. They work. Right? But then you realize that integers are not the only types of numbers, right? There are also decimal numbers, but decimal numbers are not whole numbers, therefore they cannot be integers. So what do you call those? Programmers like to call them floats. Floats. And indeed, this is what you get. If you do something like this, a decimal number, you get something called a float. And you could play with this forever, and you always get float. Now, of course, there are also true and false, right? This we're not really going to be using yet, but once we get into other more advanced things, we will be using this. So, let's just type true. That's what we call a bool, which stands for, which is short for boolean. Yeah, that's how you spell it. It basically just means a true value or a false value. Very simple. So there you go. That's a bool, a float, int, and string. And really that's it. But there are some other things you need to know about this, like conversions. So let's say you have a string like this, and you want to convert it into an integer. That's very simple. You just need to take int, and then there you go. Put it in these parentheses, and done. Press enter. It gives you 34234 without these, which means it successfully becomes a number. It's not text anymore. So the computer says, oh, so int. Okay, we want to convert this into integer. Sure, let's do that then. And there you go. It does give you it. And notice how it's not in these single quotes. You can also do float. If we do int 5.5, it just, yeah, you see, it can't give you an int, but I think, yeah, see, because the integer is not used to this, because it's like, what the heck, what is this? It doesn't have, it doesn't support decimal numbers, but when you do float, it says, okay, let's convert that into float. So it gives you the answer. And you can also convert strings. You can also convert numbers to strings. Like if you put this in, notice how it has quotes now, because you converted it into a string. This is actually quite useful if, let's say, a function that you have requires an integer, requires a string, but you have an integer. Then you can say this, right? And then there you go. this becomes a string, and then it can do whatever from there. So yeah, so this is about it. This is just a little short tutorial about conversions and data types. I'll be reviewing some more things later, and peace off.